they're not gonna take it. A group of exotic dancers in California wants to unionize.
There's no watchdog group looking out for strippers, and so that's what I think a union can be.
OnlyFans is a kind of fusion between social media and webcam sites.
If you Google OnlyFans, you will see porn, 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 porn.
He took her around to strip clubs to make a living for him.
A strip club scandal. 4 people arrested accused of letting a 15-year-old girl dance at the club.
This beautiful young woman was trapped in evil.
She was stuck and didn't know how to get out.
What happened? And who the hell is she?
Now, they told us that in 2019 they'd had about a dozen cases of reports of missing children being linked to OnlyFans videos. But actually in 2020, those cases tripled. And they said some of these videos were, trafficking, child sexual exploitation, nudity, stripping, but also lots of self-generated material of under 18s basically creating child abuse material themselves.
Speak on this too, because this is so annoying when people say that I pimp. I do not. I would never. I treat everyone like they are my family. And plus, what do you know the definition of that? That is not what I am. I treat them like family. So what I do, I help people be the best them, and I capitalize on how great they could be.
Hey guys, it's Lavender here. It's me, Comrade Lavender, and today I'm back with another YouTube deep dive anti-capitalism video. Today I'm going to be talking about the pure evil, the OnlyFans / strip club stripper industry files, a deep dive into this topic. Disclaimer, before we get started in this video, everything in this video is allegedly. I'm not shaming sex workers, I'm just calling out the capitalism industry exploitation that goes on in these industries. I'm also not going to be doing a deep dive of the whole entire porn industry or professional porn. I already made a short deep dive video as to why the porn industry summed up is bad. I talk about the sex trafficking, porn agency exploitation of the porn stars, and the Pornhub true crime cases in it as well. If you want to check that out, the video and the videos related to this topic that I have made on my YouTube channel will be linked in the description. The porn star, the porn industry video will be, and all the other videos that are related to this on my YouTube channel, this topic, are going to be on the screen right now if you'd like to check them out. So let's get started into this YouTube video. OnlyFans is an online platform pretty much got popular because mom who lost job in lockdown set to become OnlyFans millionaire in just 1 year, read one headline. The actress Bella Thorne earned more than $1 million in OnlyFans within just 24 hours alone. The prospect of doing what they have done, publish semi-nude pictures or nude pictures on the internet and earning a lot, is certainly alluring and lures people in. OnlyFans, it boasts over 120 million users, and OnlyFans accumulated around $2 billion in sales in 2020 alone, ranking in 20% of the income of all their content creators, most of whom were women pushed into the sex trade industry during the global pandemic. The social media app boomed during the pandemic, with both demand and supply increasing. Demand on the one hand because many men suddenly had time to consume adult content, supply on the other because many women were laid off and were struggling to make ends meet. They had been drawn to OnlyFans presumably because the numerous accounts about women who have earned huge amounts of wealth on this app with seemingly little effort. A recent survey of just over 3,000 students found that over a fifth had used OnlyFans while at university or at a college. The digital form sex work on OnlyFans takes it safer, as well as no physical contact with consumers means that content creators are shielded from harassment and STDs. Additionally, the growing popularity of the platform diminishes the stigma surrounding sex work, nurturing the dignity of some women who engage in it. But the problem is, women who produce content on the platform, the monetization of this activity relies on the commodification of the female body. It is a product or a service to be sold, but people's bodies and sexual capacities are integral to their identities, i.e. your body and sexuality are a significant part of who you are, and one that is very intimate and vulnerable. A lot of people want to claim that OnlyFans is better than, sites like Pornhub or professional, porn companies or professional porn studios, but that's just not the case. Porn stars and professional porn and on OnlyFans are still exploited by these billion-dollar companies and capitalist pigs. The company utilizes its top content creators to propagize for the platform in the style of a multi-level marketing schemes, otherwise known as pyramid schemes. Those facing poverty are told that they can easily make a living by becoming a sex worker. For each new content creator onboarded, the referrer is awarded 5% of the new content creator's revenue. Like in every pyramid scheme, only those at the apex are profitable. In a now oversaturated market of tens of thousands of women vying for survival, the average income of an OnlyFans creator is only $180 per month. This is why professional porn companies and sites like OnlyFans are bad. They exploit the sex workers and rank in the profits and steal the fruit of their labor. OnlyFans doesn't actually care at all about sex workers. They only care, again, about capitalism mega profits, because capitalism puts profits over the lives of everything, animals, people, and Mother Earth herself. In an update to the terms of service for content creators a while ago, OnlyFans had tried and decided to officially ban porn content and sexually explicit content on the platform in an attempt to shift the company's brand to one similar to Patreon and other fan-based subscription services. This backfired immensely hard because they lost so much profits they changed their mind and backtracked on the whole situation. The commodification of the female body inherent to OnlyFans' conception has another dangerous consequence and outcome. It requires that a woman is seen as an object, as means to an end, rather than as a human being. While this dehumanization is unpleasant in itself, more notably, it also results in violence against women. Numerous studies, like the one carried out by psychologists at the University of Kent, have determined that there's a direct link between objectification of women and acts of aggression and violence against them. Most vulnerable to the risk of violence and sexual abuse are sex workers. The platform cannot prevent all forms of harassment. For example, it cannot stop users from recording 1.6 TB worth of content without the creators, sex workers' consent, and leaking it onto free porn sites such as Pornhub. It was also powerless to prevent a man stalking and harassing a 21-year-old OnlyFans creator after she refused to have sex with him. There was a stalker that was convicted of hiding in an OnlyFans model's attic, snapping nude photos of her without her consent. A Pennsylvania man was found guilty of several charges after he broke into an OnlyFans model's home and hid in her attic, telling jurors the woman wanted to be stalked. Some more true crime cases involving OnlyFans and OnlyFans models and OnlyFans porn stars is there allegations of women on the platform OnlyFans allegedly exploiting other women and scamming. A OnlyFans porn star model, Tonya Hughes, has been accused of scamming and exploiting young women for financial gain.
Look at my daughter. She's everything. All that. And a bag of every type of chip. And she's free! Lexi's fresh out of jail! My girl Lexi is making a video right now. Kaylee is shaving. And Gigi's twerking all around the house. And I'm being a good friend, supplying the whole gallon of, what is this, crown oil. What I do, I help people be the best them. And I capitalize on how great they could be. And that's what I do. A pimp, like, bro... him? I'm never that. Never that. Don't say that.
If you don't know who Tonya is, she was a castmate on the Rock of Love 3 bus with Bret Michaels and went on to other reality TV such as Charm School.
From Charm School. It feels like to know that my chance at winning $100,000 isn't there no more, but I'm a hustler. I'll get it someday.
She got shaded by her former castmate Ashley, who was on Rock of Love 3 bus with her and Charm School, from these allegations of exploiting really young women. Britannia has claimed that she treats all the women that do OnlyFans that have lived at her house properties like her own family, but that just sounds like a manipulation tactic like workplace grooming. She used to work with women such as Lauren Lovenue, who goes by Cherry Colvin now, and Baby A. Foreign, who don't work with her anymore. Allegedly, Britannia Ravazzi takes a 50% management commission from her OnlyFans models. Cherry Colvin had a lawsuit going against her alleging in the suit, filed by attorneys on the behalf of the group of OnlyFans models, alleges that Britannia violated an agreement to take 50% management commission from the plaintiff's earnings and instead placed all earnings into the defendant's own bank accounts. The complaint further alleges that after Britannia's management was terminated, she sought to sabotage the OnlyFans models by refusing to turn over passwords for their plaintiff's OnlyFans and Instagram accounts, removing content from their pages, and filing false takedown notices and copyright takedown notices. And if this wasn't bad enough, the current girls she's working with right now have her name tattooed on them, which I find extremely problematic for many reasons, because I'm pretty sure Britannia doesn't have their name tatted on her. And let me remind you that this woman, Britannia, is almost 40, and the girls she works with, are barely older than 18, honestly. Couple arraigned for allegedly running multi-state sex trafficking ring through OnlyFans. A couple was arraigned in Manhattan Criminal Court Wednesday for allegedly running a violent sex trafficking ring. The two would force women to engage in commercial sex acts and force one of the women to produce videos on OnlyFans. Now on to the strip club stripper industry. After a decade of working as a stripper, Brandy Campbell had finally had enough of being groped and sexually assaulted by customers and management alike. In the time, she worked at 57 different clubs across 6 different states and said she experienced sexual harassment in most of them. But earlier this year, while working for Larry's Flint Hustler Club in Las Vegas, she got fed up. Many people, including clients, may think that touching an exotic dancers comes with the industry and territory, but the job doesn't entail or permit unwanted sexual contact or advances, just as any other occupation or job. Yet she alleges that customers at Hustler frequently grabbed her and slapped her, but her supervisors didn't just ignore it. She says they also engaged in the harassment, touching her, hugging her, and kissing her. The manager even hounded her to go on dates with him, even though she never picked up his calls. That's when she found out she can't sue for sexual harassment. She's also not entitled to be paid at least minimum wage, to get overtime when she works more than 40 hours a week, or to draw unemployment insurance if she's fired. If she hurts herself on the job, she won't see a dime of workers' compensation. The club gets away with all this by labeling its dancers as independent contractors rather than regular employees. She's pushed forward with the lawsuit anyway, seeking not just to prove her claims of sexual harassment and sexual assault, but also of being improperly treated like a contractor. Dancers across the country are fighting back against abusive working conditions. The last several years have seen a proliferation of class action lawsuits similar to hers, all claiming that clubs are illegally misclassifying their dancers as independent contractors and therefore ducking a range of labor laws. Some dancers flock to the industry in part because of the perceived scheduling and flexibility of the career, but they often end up as binding as many other jobs. Most clubs require a dancer to come in at a minimum number of days a week and assign them for either a day or night shift. Some also tell dancers what time to show up, even charging them a fine if they're late, and many charge a penalty for leaving before a certain time or pay a supposed bonus for sticking around. You're getting punished for leaving early and settling your own hours, she noted. In the meantime, conditions at strip clubs have sparked a venerable wave of legislation. The Sea of Change began with a lawsuit in the Mitchell Brothers O'Farnell Theater in San Francisco in 1994, one of the first class action lawsuits. The owners had changed the dancers' status from employees paid the minimum wage to the independent contractors who had paid stage fees. The club eventually settled with the class for more than 500 dancers by agreeing to pay them $2.8 million and switch them back to employees. One of the highest profile cases was more recent, brought against Las Vegas Sapphire's Gentlemen's Club in 2009. The Nevada Supreme Court unanimously ruled that club dancers are employees entitled to minimum wage. Score strip club sued for allowing sex trafficking of a disabled teen. A Score strip club in Florida hired a severely disabled 17-year-old sex trafficking victim with a fake ID and allowed her to be groped and molested by adult men, a scathing lawsuit filed. The victim, identified in court papers as Jane Doe, was developmentally 13 years old when her trafficker brought her to the chain Tampa location, according to the lawsuit filed. Texas strip club sues a 14-year-old exotic dancer. A strip club that hired a 14-year-old as an exotic dancer in 2009 is now suing the girl, saying the 7th grader swindled them into breaking state law. The San Antonio teen allegedly exposed her breasts while working at a cheetah club in Corpus Christi, a violation of state law. Police say that Leslie Campbell, 48, kidnapped the teenager in San Antonio in March, took her to Corpus Christi, sexually assaulted her over the course of a week, gave her a false identification card, and forced her to strip at the strip club. More true crime cases involving strip clubs.
The grisly murder. Last seen at a nightclub.
Paula Sladewski was the kind of person who lit up a room.
She did. Her blonde hair, her spirit.
The beautiful 26-year-old model lived life in the fast lane.
Always on the go. She was afraid of nothing.
As a young girl growing up in Michigan, she collected Barbie dolls and dreamed of living the Barbie life.
Barbie life to her was the glamour, the glitz, the blue eyes, the outfits. That's Paula.
Then she became an exotic dancer in strip clubs in Michigan and California.
I sat her down one day and I said, "Why are you doing this?" She said, "I make great money." To her it was glamorous.
But it led Paula down a dark path of hard drinking and partying. But then, after a night of partying, she was gruesomely murdered.
A dumpster was reported on fire about 10 miles from the club. Inside, there was a body, burned beyond recognition.
Netflix's documentary called Girl in the Picture is the most twisted true crime documentary of the year. Girl in the Picture begins in April 1990 with the discovery of a body of a blonde-haired 20-year-old female on the side of an Oklahoma City road. The victim was Tonya Hughes, a Tulsa stripper who was married to a guy named Clarence Hughes, with whom she had a 2-year-old son with, Michael. Medical exams revealed numerous bruises and injuries to Tonya that didn't totally align with the idea that she'd perished due to a hit-and-run accident. More puzzling, however, was the fact that Tonya's exotic dancer friends used a phone book to look up and call her relatives and family members. They were told by a woman that Tonya was her daughter, but she had died 20 years ago at only 18 months old. This was a stunning development, and her friend Karen Parsley, with whom she worked at Oklahoma City adult entertainment club Passions, relays that it wasn't the only particular thing about Tonya, who loved by her son but clearly lived under the thumb of her spouse Clarence, and a weird, menacing old man who Karen suspected was responsible for the bruises and abuse to Tonya's body. In the aftermath of this tragedy, Michael's bizarre behavior compelled the Department of Human Services to place him in the foster care of Ernest Bean, who loved the boy during the 4 years they had had him in their home. Unfortunately, Clarence maintained visitation rights with his son, and least until DHS ordered a paternity test be confirmed that Clarence shared no biological connection to the boy. On September 12, 1994, Clarence visited Michael's elementary school, took Principal James Davis and Michael hostage at gunpoint, and bound the principal to a nearby tree and took off with the kid. This attracted the attention of the FBI, who sent Special Agent Joe Fitzpatrick to Oklahoma City to handle the case, and his initial sleuthing led to another bombshell. In 1990, Clarence had attempted to collect on Tonya's life insurance policy with a social security number that belonged to a person with the name Franklin Delano Floyd. Looking into Floyd's past unearthed a stint in a halfway house in 1972, and before that a 1962 abduction of a little girl and a 1963 bank robbery that had netted him 9 years behind bars in prison. Moreover, since 1973, he'd been on the run after skipping out on a court date about an attack on yet another woman. Franklin was thus outed as a sexual predator, conman, fugitive, and fraudster, and yet somehow that's just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to the girl in the picture. After recognizing Tonya's photo on TV, the murdered girl's high school friends from Forest Park, Georgia, reached out to Fitzpatrick to identify her as Sharon Marshall, a smart, vivacious, beautiful, gifted student who is full of life and full ride to Georgia Tech University to study to be aerospace engineering. Worse, though, was they had to say about Sharon's troublesome home life with her dad Warren, a creepy man who didn't want her out on the phone and paid for risque yearbook photos that rubbed them all the wrong way. Most important of all, Sharon's classmates immediately recognized Clarence/Floyd/Sharon's husband at the time of her death as her father, Warren. Incest, rape, and multiple children all wind up being part of the girl in the pictures. When teenage Sharon becomes pregnant, she and Warren got hitched and moved down to Tampa, where Warren put his new wife to work at the Mons Venus strip club. There, a friend, Heather Lane, remembers Sharon would solicit sex for money on the orders of her husband/father. Their babysitter, Michelle Couples, speaks candidly about the strangeness of this household as well as the budding relationship between the two. Dancer Cheryl Camoso, who was promised a future as a Playboy model by Warren. By 1989, the couple was fleeing Florida for Oklahoma City, although the reason for their sudden departure wouldn't become known until 1995, when a woman's body was found by police and through a fortuitous series of events identified them as Comiso. The 2000 murder of Rachel Siani and trial of the killer John DeFoda fascinated folks from Pennsylvania to Trenton for years. It's generated countless headlines and wound its way up to a true crime TV show. She was a full-time community college student and part-time stripper at a gentleman's club in Lower Bucks County, Pennsylvania. The 21-year-old who danced under the name Foxy Roxy was found dead on a secluded strip of land in Burlington County, New Jersey, underneath New Jersey Turnpike Bridge. One night, the Defona and Tavani wound up in the motel together and he killed her. Authorities still to this day have not been exactly clear as to why he killed her, but he did drop her out of a motel window and put her into the bed of his pickup truck and heaved her into the second time off the Turnpike Bridge. Authorities found her blood at the crime scene hotel and in his truck, as well as a grainy video footage of the truck driving along the turnpike, first driving to New Jersey, then back to Pennsylvania, and it showed a motionless woman sprawled out in the back of the pickup truck.